The night sky above the outer colony was burning. Metal buildings shook as explosions echoed across the streets. Red warning lights flashed again and again, painting the smoke-filled air like flowing blood. People were running everywhere. Some screamed. Some fell. Most did not look back. In the middle of this chaos, a human named Evan moved through the broken streets. Evan was not a hero. He was not a soldier by choice. He was just a repair worker who had stayed too late fixing a power line. Now he ran with his heart pounding, holding a small bag close to his chest. Gunfire cracked through the air behind him. Energy shots hit walls, turning metal into glowing holes. Civilians detected. A cold voice echoed from above. Evan ducked behind a fallen transport vehicle. He tried to slow his breathing. His hands were shaking. He told himself one thing again and again. Just survive. That was when he heard it. A sound so small, so weak, it almost disappeared under the noise of war. A soft cry. Evan froze. It was not human. He looked toward the sound. It came from a narrow alley filled with fire and broken crates. Logic told him to stay hidden, to wait, to run when the shooting stopped. But the sound came again. A frightened, shaking cry. Evan swallowed hard. Damn it, he whispered. Before he could stop himself, he ran toward the alley. Heat burned his face as flames licked the walls. Smoke filled his lungs. At the far end, behind a broken cargo box, he saw it. A tiny dragon. It was no bigger than a house cat. Its wings were torn. Its scales were dull and cracked, not shining like the stories. One of its legs was bleeding. Its golden eyes were wide with fear. The dragon looked at Evan and cried again. Evan's mind went blank. Dragons are extinct, people said. Dragons are weapons, the military said. Dragons are dangerous, everyone said. But this one was just a child. Heavy footsteps echoed behind him. Evan turned. 3 armed soldiers stepped into the alley. Their helmets glowed with red targeting lights. Their guns rose at the same time. Target located, one said calmly. Non-human life form confirmed. The tiny dragon screamed. Evan did not think. He jumped. He threw himself between the guns and the dragon, spreading his arms wide like a shield. And oh, he shouted. The soldiers fired. Energy shots slammed into Evan's back. Pain exploded through his body. He screamed as he fell to his knees. The air smelled of burned flesh. His vision blurred. He expected darkness, but darkness did not come. Instead, heat spread under his skin. Not burning heat, living heat. Evan gasped and looked at his arms. His skin was changing. Where the shots hit, his skin hardened, turning dark and rough. Thin lines of glowing red light ran across his body like fire under stone. The pain faded, replaced by something else. Strength. The soldiers froze. What the? One of them said. They fired again. The shots hit Evan's back and shattered, breaking apart like sparks against armor. Evan stood up slowly. His breathing was heavy. His heart felt like it was on fire. He looked down at his hands. Parts of his skin were no longer human. They looked like scales. Behind him, the tiny dragon pressed against his leg. Evan could feel it. Not with his ears. Not with his eyes. With his mind. Fear, pain, trust. The dragon trusted him. A loud alarm sounded in the soldiers' helmets. Unknown mutation detected. A voice warned. Threat level increasing. The soldiers raised their guns again, but their hands were shaking now. Evan turned to face them. He had never fought anyone in his life. He was afraid. Still human inside. Still weak. But when the soldiers fired again, Evan stepped forward. The shots did nothing. With one movement, driven by instinct, Evan slammed his fist into the ground. The force cracked the metal street. The shockwave threw the soldiers back like broken dolls. Their weapons skidded across the alley. Silence fell. Smoke drifted slowly through the air. Evan stared at his hand, breathing hard. "What am I?" he whispered. Behind him, the dragon made a small, tired sound. Evan turned and knelt beside it. The glow on his skin faded slightly. The scales pulled back, leaving marks like shadows. The dragon touched its head to Evan's chest. In that moment, something deep inside Evan changed forever. Far above the city, scanners activated. Energy spike detected, a voice said. Dragon level signature, bonded to human. Orders were sent. Hunts began, and Evan did not know it yet. But the moment he chose to protect something weaker than himself, the galaxy had gained something it feared more than dragons. A human who would not step aside. The mark of fire. Evan did not stop running until his lungs burned. He moved through narrow service tunnels beneath the colony, holding the tiny dragon close to his chest. The metal walls were cold, but his body was still warm, too warm. Every step echoed loudly in his ears. The dragon was silent now. That scared him more than the gunfire. Evan slowed and knelt behind a broken door panel. He gently placed the dragon on the ground. Its small chest moved up and down, weak but steady. A thin line of smoke escaped its nose with every breath. "You're alive," Evan whispered. "Good, please stay alive." His hands were shaking again, but not from fear alone. From change. He looked at his arms. The skin there looked normal at first glance. But when the emergency lights flickered, he saw it. Faint lines under his skin, glowing like dying embers. When he touched his arm, it felt harder than before. Not metal, something stronger. A sharp pain suddenly struck his chest. Evan gasped and grabbed the wall. His vision blurred. Images flashed in his mind. Firestorms, flying shapes, a sky full of wings. He heard a roar, ancient and deep, echoing inside his head. "No, get out of my head," he whispered. The dragon stirred. Its golden eyes opened slowly and locked onto Evan. The pain stopped. Evan stared back, breathing hard. They were connected. He did not know how. He did not know why. But he felt it clearly now. When the dragon was calm, so was he. When it was afraid, his heart raced. Outside the tunnel, something heavy moved. Boots. Many of them. A mechanical voice echoed through the underground space. "Attention, unregistered human. You are ordered to surrender the dragon entity immediately." Evan's blood ran cold. They had found him. He gently picked up the dragon again and backed deeper into the tunnel. The walls began to shake as something massive landed above. A combat walker. Evan could hear its weapons charging. "You don't even know what it is," Evan muttered bitterly. "But you want to own it." The dragon made a weak sound and pressed closer to him. Evan made a choice. He stepped out of the shadows. The tunnel opened into an old transport bay. Broken ships lay scattered like bones. Soldiers stood in a wide circle, guns raised. Above them, the combat walker aimed its cannons directly at Evan. A commander stepped forward. "Human," she said calmly. "That creature is classified as a high-risk biological weapon. Hand it over." Evan looked down at the dragon. "Weapon? This small, shaking life?" "No," Evan said. The word surprised even him. The commander's eyes hardened. "Then you'll be terminated." Weapons charged. The dragon suddenly cried out. The sound hit Evan like a punch to the soul. Something inside him snapped. The glow under his skin burst into life. Scales erupted across his arms and shoulders, forming in seconds. His back straightened. His pain turned into fire, and the fire turned into strength. The soldiers stepped back. "What is happening to him?" one shouted. The combat walker fired. A massive blast of energy rushed toward Evan. He did not dodge. He stood still. The blast hit him and split apart, bending around his body like water around stone. The force slammed into the walls behind him, destroying metal and stone. Evan was still standing. Smoke rolled off his shoulders. Slowly, Evan raised his head. His eyes were glowing now. "This ends," he said, his voice deeper than before. "Right here." He took one step forward. The ground cracked. Another step. The soldiers panicked and fired wildly. Their shots bounced off him or melted before touching his skin. Evan moved faster than thought. He disarmed one soldier with a single strike. Another flew across the bay like a rag doll. He did not kill them. He did not want to. He only wanted them gone. The combat walker tried to retreat. The dragon lifted its small head. A tiny flame escaped its mouth. Small, but bright. The flame hit the walker's sensor core. The machine froze, then collapsed in a shower of sparks. Silence filled the bay. Evan stood among fallen weapons and broken metal, breathing heavily. The glow slowly faded from his skin, leaving deep marks behind. He looked down at the dragon. It looked back at him. In that moment, Evan understood something terrible and powerful. This was only the beginning. Far away, in a high command station, alarms screamed. A human dragon bond confirmed, a voice said. Level exceeds projections. A shadowed figure spoke calmly. Then send everything we have, it said. Because if humans can become this. The figure smiled. They will change the galaxy. Evan did not hear those words, but he felt the weight of them settle on his soul. And he knew he could never go back to being normal again. The truth they buried. Evan did not stop moving until the city was far behind him. The night turned quiet, but not peaceful. Burned towers stood like dead giants under a broken sky. Evan walked through the ruins, the tiny dragon wrapped inside his jacket. Every step felt heavier than the last. Not because he was tired, because he was changing. His heartbeat was slow now. Too slow. His senses felt sharp. He could hear metal creak far away. He could smell smoke that was miles old. This was not normal. The dragon stirred and opened its eyes. Evan felt it before it moved. He stopped walking. You feel something too? He whispered. The dragon let out a soft warning sound. Then Evan heard it. Not boots. Not machines. A voice. You are very bad at hiding, human. Evan spun around, his body ready without thinking. A tall figure stepped out from the shadows. It was not human. Its skin was pale silver, its eyes black and calm. Long markings glowed faintly along its neck. An elder alien. I don't want trouble, Evan said slowly. Just stay back. The alien smiled gently. If I wanted you dead, you would already be gone. Evan did not relax. The alien looked at the dragon and lowered its head. So it has chosen you, the alien said quietly. Evan froze. Chosen? The alien nodded. I have waited many years to see this again. They moved into an underground shelter, hidden from scanners. The alien introduced himself as Kale, a keeper of old knowledge. His kind had watched dragons long before humans reached the stars. What you're carrying is not a weapon, Kale said. It is a royal hatchling. Evan's grip tightened. Royal? Kale activated an old projector. The air filled with moving images. Worlds burning. Fleets falling from the sky. Dragons flying beside humans. Long ago, Kale said, humans and dragons stood together. Not as masters and beasts. As partners. Evan stared at the images. Then why does everyone say dragons are monsters? Kale's voice darkened. Because humans are dangerous when they fear what they cannot control. He changed the image. Human fleets firing on dragons. Chains. Labs. Screams. They try to turn dragons into tools. The dragons fought back. The war nearly destroyed everything. Evan felt anger rise in his chest. The dragons disappeared. Kale continued. They hid their eggs. They waited. The image stopped on a single symbol. A dragon chooses only one thing, Kale said. A protector who shields without expecting power. Evan remembered the alley. The bullets. The choice. His skin burned again. The bond is alive now, Kale said. It will grow. So will you. Evan looked down at his hands. What happens to me? Kale's eyes were serious. You will no longer belong to humanity alone. Before Evan could speak, alarm screamed. Kale cursed. They found us. The shelter shook as heavy weapons hit the ground above. Kale turned to Evan. Listen carefully. If they take the dragon, they will break it. If they take you. He did not finish. Evan stood up. The dragon pressed against his chest, afraid. Evan felt its fear, and his fear turned into fire. I won't let them touch it, Evan said. The ceiling exploded. Armored soldiers poured in. Drones hovered, weapons glowing. Target confirmed, a voice said. Secure the asset. Evan stepped forward. Kale shouted, control it. Do not lose yourself. Too late. The glow burst from Evan's skin like flame. Scales spread across his chest and arms, thicker than before. His eyes burned gold. A soldier fired. Evan caught the shot. In his hand, the energy died like a candle. Silence followed. Evan moved. This time, he was not reacting. He was choosing. He ripped weapons from soldiers and crushed them. He moved faster than drones could track. The floor cracked with every step. The dragon lifted its head and roared. Not loud, but powerful. Every soldier froze. Fear filled the room. Evan felt something unlock inside him. A truth so clear it hurt. This power was not his. It was shared. The soldiers retreated. The shelter was destroyed, but they were alive. Kale looked at Evan with awe. It has begun, he said. They will hunt you now. Humans. Empires. Everyone. Evan looked at the burning ruins. Then let them come, he said quietly, because somewhere deep inside him, something ancient had awakened, and it was no longer afraid. When humans became the threat, Evan stood at the edge of the ruined shelter, staring at the smoke rising into the sky. Kale was gone. The old alien had escaped into the underground tunnels, carrying secrets that were now burning inside Evan's mind. Evan was alone, not truly alone. The dragon rested against his shoulder, small and warm. Its heartbeat matched his own. Evan could feel it clearly now, every breath, every emotion. Fear, but also trust. That trust scared Evan more than any weapon. A distant thunder rolled across the sky. Evan looked up. Ships. Human warships. They arrived in perfect formation, blocking the stars one by one. Spotlights cut through the darkness, scanning the ruins below. A voice echoed across the city. Unknown human entity, you are surrounded. Surrender immediately. Evan's jaw tightened. They didn't even ask if I was okay, he whispered. The dragon shifted uneasily. Evan placed a hand over it. I won't let them take you. The ground trembled as armored vehicles rolled into view. Soldiers poured out, hundreds of them, weapons aimed at one man. At him, a familiar symbol glowed on their armor. The same force he once worked for. Evan stepped forward into the light. I'm human, he shouted. I didn't attack anyone. I protected a life. Silence. Then a new voice replied, calm and cold. You're no longer classified as human. That word hit harder than any bullet. Evan felt something crack inside his chest. You don't get to decide that, he said quietly. A commander appeared on hologram. You are a biological anomaly, she said. Your existence is a risk. Step away from the dragon. The dragon let out a low growl. Evan felt its fear turn sharp. No, Evan said again. The commander sighed. Then this is your final warning. The soldiers raised their weapons. Evan closed his eyes. He did not want to fight humans. But the bond did not allow hesitation. The first shot fired. Evan opened his eyes. The world slowed. The glow burst from his skin, brighter than ever before. Scales covered his body fully now, forming living armor. His spine straightened. His strength surged like a rising storm. The shot never reached him. It stopped in midair, then shattered. Gasps spread through the soldiers. Evan walked forward. Every step shook the ground. Stand down, someone shouted. Fear spread fast. Evan raised his hand. I won't hurt you, he said, but I won't kneel. The dragon lifted its head. Fire bloomed around them. Not wild, not burning the ground, but controlled. A ring of heat surrounded Evan, keeping the soldiers back. Drones fired missiles. Evan looked up and jumped. The air cracked. He smashed through the drones like glass, tearing them apart midair. He landed hard, leaving a crater beneath his feet. The soldiers broke formation. Some ran. Some fired in panic. None of it worked. Evan moved through them like a force of nature, disarming, breaking armor, tearing weapons apart. He avoided killing blows. Still, the message was clear. They could not stop him. The commander's hologram flickered. This changes everything, she whispered. Evan looked straight at the projection. Yes, he said. It does. Above the planet, satellites locked onto him. Across human space, screens lit up. A single image spread everywhere. A human covered in dragon scales. A dragon on his shoulder, standing against an army. People stared in silence. Some felt fear. Some felt hope. In the chaos, a hidden signal activated. Deep space gates opened. Something ancient noticed him. Something that had waited a very long time. Evan felt it. A pressure in the stars. The dragon cried out softly. Evan looked to the sky. What else is coming? He whispered. The answer did not come in words. It came as a feeling. War. Not just against him. Against humanity. And this time, Evan knew which side he would stand on. A hero to some, a monster to others. The image spread across human space in less than an hour. A human standing alone, covered in dragon scales. A dragon on his shoulder, surrounded by broken weapons. Some called him a miracle. Others called him a nightmare. Evan watched the reactions from a broken broadcast screen inside an abandoned city tower. News channels argued. Politicians shouted. Military leaders demanded answers. "He is not human anymore," one voice said. "He saved lives," another replied. "He must be controlled," a third shouted. Evan turned the screen off. "Talking won't stop them," he said quietly. The dragon sat beside him, larger now. Its wings were healing. Its eyes were brighter. Evan could feel its strength growing and his own changing with it. But power came with pain. Every time Evan used the bond, his body burned longer. The scales stayed visible. His thoughts felt sharper, colder. He was afraid of what he might become. Outside, footsteps approached. Evan stood at once. A human figure stepped into the room, weapon lowered. "I'm not here to fight," the woman said. She wore civilian armor with medical markings. A resistance symbol glowed on her shoulder. "My name is Mara," she said. "People like you gave us hope." Evan studied her carefully. "You should leave," he said. "They'll follow you." Mara shook her head. "They already are." She told him the truth. Cities were splitting. Some humans refused military orders. Others formed groups to protect dragon rumors spreading across space. But darker things were happening too. A secret program had activated. Project Ashfall. "They're building something to kill you," Mara said. And the dragon. Evan felt a chill in his bones. "They don't care how many people die," she continued. "As long as you're gone." The dragon growled softly. Evan placed a hand on its head. "Where?" he asked. Mara hesitated. "A populated zone. They want you to come." A trap. Evan knew it instantly. But if he did nothing, thousands would die. Evan closed his eyes. "I'll go," he said. The city of Karsus burned under a red sky. Missiles rained down as people ran screaming through the streets. A massive machine rose at the city's center, covered in anti-dragon weapons, powered by stolen dragon energy. Ashfall was active. Evan arrived like a falling star. He hit the ground hard, sending a shock wave through the streets. The dragon leaped from his shoulder, landing beside him with a growing roar. People stopped running. They stared. Some fell to their knees. "Is that him?" someone whispered. The machine targeted Evan immediately. Beams of cold energy slammed into him. Evan screamed. The pain was different. It was designed for him. The scales cracked. Blood hit the ground. The dragon cried out in terror. Evan felt its fear and almost lost control. Fire exploded outward. Buildings melted. Evan fell to one knee, breathing hard. This was too much. Too strong. Too cruel. The machine charged its final weapon. Evan stood slowly. His mind shook. A voice echoed inside him. Protector. Not human. Not dragon. Protector. Evan reached deeper than before. Past fear. Past anger. He accepted the bond fully. His body changed completely. Wings of burning light formed behind him. His scales shined like living metal. His eyes glowed brighter than the sun. The machine fired. Evan caught the blast and crushed it. The city went silent. The machine collapsed into scrap. Evan stood shaking among the ruins. He had won, but he felt it. Something had noticed. Far beyond human space, ancient beings opened their eyes. The bond has awakened, one whispered. The human stands between worlds. Evan looked down at his hands. He was no longer sure what he was, but he knew one thing. There was no turning back now. When the sky broke open, the victory did not feel like a victory. Evan stood in the center of the destroyed city, surrounded by silence and fire. Buildings burned slowly. The ground was cracked and glowing. People watched him from far away, afraid to come closer. He could feel it. Fear, not from enemies, from humans. The dragon landed beside him, wings wide, breathing hard. It was bigger now, stronger, but its eyes were worried. Evan knelt. "I'm still here," he whispered. "I'm still me." But even as he said it, he was not sure. His wings of light faded slowly. The scales did not. His body hurt in a deep, heavy way. Not like wounds, like something inside him was breaking and rebuilding at the same time. Mara ran toward him through the smoke. "You saved them," she said, out of breath. "The city, it survived." Evan looked around. So many buildings were gone. So many lives changed. "How many died?" he asked quietly. Mara did not answer. That was answer enough. Above them, the sky changed. Clouds twisted into strange shapes. Stars disappeared, one by one. A deep sound rolled across the air, low, ancient, and powerful. The dragon froze. It looked up and screamed. Evan felt it instantly. Terror, not fear of death. Fear of something far worse. The sky split open. A massive shape pushed through reality itself. Not a ship, not a creature with wings. Something older. Dark armor covered its body. Its eyes burned like dead suns. Around it floated smaller shapes, sharp and silent. Ancient enemies of dragons. The Devourers. Every screen across human space lit up at once. "This is not a drill," a voice said. "All forces retreat." Too late. The Devourer spoke without sound, but everyone heard it. "The bond has returned. The mistake walks again." Evan felt the words slam into his mind. "You're talking about me," he said. The Devourer's eyes locked onto him. "You are in error," it replied. "A human should not carry dragon fire." The dragon stepped in front of Evan, roaring with all its strength. The Devourer laughed. "You are too small." The first attack came like the end of the world. Energy waves erased everything they touched. Entire city blocks vanished. Human defenses fired back, but their weapons did nothing. Evan spread his wings and flew. The air screamed around him as he rose to meet the Devourer. Every instinct inside him burned. This was what the bond was for. They collided. The shockwave shattered the clouds. Evan struck with fire and force, but the Devourer did not fall. It grabbed him midair and crushed him with impossible strength. Pain exploded. Evan screamed. The bond flared wildly. Too wildly. Fire poured out of him without control. The sky burned. The ground below cracked open. Evan felt himself losing grip, losing who he was. "Evan!" Mara screamed from below. The dragon cried out, its fear sharp and desperate. That fear pulled Evan back from the edge. He saw it then. If he kept fighting like this, he would destroy everything, even what he wanted to protect. The Devourer tightened its grip. "You cannot control it," it said. "You will end like the others." Evan stopped struggling. He closed his eyes. He did not push the power. He listened. To the dragon. To the bond. To himself. "I'm not your mistake," Evan said calmly. His fire changed. It became focused. Controlled. Calm. The Devourer recoiled. Evan broke free and struck once. Clean and precise. The blow shattered the Devourer's armor. It screamed. The smaller shapes fled into the sky. The Devourer fell back through the broken clouds, wounded but alive. The sky slowly healed. Evan landed hard, collapsing to one knee. He was shaking, exhausted, alive. The dragon pressed its head to his chest. They had survived, but Evan knew the truth now. That thing would return, and next time, it would bring war, not just against him, against all of humanity. Evan looked at the horizon. "I won't run anymore," he said softly, because whether humans accepted him or not, he was their shield now, the human who stood between stars. The war did not come immediately. That was the most frightening part. After the Devourer retreated, the sky stayed quiet. Too quiet. Human fleets gathered. Cities rebuilt slowly. People whispered Evan's name in fear and in prayer. Some called him a guardian. Some called him a curse. Evan stayed away from cities. He stood on the edge of the world, watching the horizon. The dragon rested beside him, no longer tiny. Its wings were wide now, strong. Its fire burned bright, but calm. Just like Evan. Mara joined him one evening. "They're coming," she said softly. "All of them. Human fleets. Old enemies. Even allies who don't trust you." Evan nodded. "I know." He had felt it for days. The stars were moving. The dragon looked up and growled low. "They want the bond," Mara continued. "Some want to use it. Some want to erase it." Evan smiled sadly. Humans always want control. A signal echoed across space. The Devourers had returned. Not one. An armada. The sky tore open again, wider than before. Darkness poured out like a wound that would not heal. Behind it came ancient shapes, weapons older than memory. Human fleets fired first. Their weapons barely slowed the enemy. Ships fell. Hope began to die. Evan stepped forward. Mara grabbed his arm. If you fight them all, you may not survive. Evan looked at her. I know. The dragon pressed against him. Evan placed his forehead against its scales. You don't have to, he whispered. The dragon answered with a deep, steady roar. Together, Evan rose into the sky. Every screen across human space showed the same image. A human, with dragon wings, flying alone toward an army. The Devourers spoke as one. You cannot stop what has already begun. Evan hovered in the void, fire and light swirling around him. Maybe, he said calmly, but I can stand in the way. The battle that followed shook the stars. Evan moved like living flame, striking with perfect control. Dragons hidden across the galaxy felt the bond awaken and joined him. Human ships followed, not because they were ordered, but because they chose to. For the first time, humans and dragons fought side by side. Still, it was not enough. The largest devourer moved forward, absorbing energy, growing stronger with every attack. Evan felt the truth then. This war would not end unless the bond changed everything. He made his final choice. Evan pulled all the fire inward, not outward. The bond burned bright, brighter than ever before. His body began to break apart, turning into pure energy. Mara screamed his name. The dragon cried out in pain. Evan looked back one last time. This is what humans do best, he said softly. We protect, even when it costs us everything. He released the energy. A wave of light washed across space. The Devourers screamed as their forms shattered, erased from existence. The sky healed. The darkness vanished. Silence returned. Slowly, ships stopped firing. The war was over. The bond was gone. Mara searched the sky in tears. Then she saw it. On a distant ridge, a human figure stood. No wings. No glowing scales. Just a man. Evan. The dragon landed beside him. Smaller again, but alive. The bond had changed them both, but it had not destroyed them. Humans would tell stories for generations. About the war. About the dragons. About the human who stood between stars. They would remember one truth above all others. Humans were never weak. They were dangerous when they chose to protect.